Hey guys, it's been a really long time. I apologize for my busted look. It's kind of late and yeah, I didn't do much. Here on my channel, we keep it real. I'll do pretty another day. But basically, the topic for today is frustration in weight loss. I want to say I started my journey about almost 2 years ago. And I've had some success when I wasn't necessarily looking for it, and I feel like now that I am, I'm not necessarily getting it. One thing that I want to make clear though is that there have definitely been some bumps and bruises along the way. Um, Almost 2 years ago, my uncle passed away of cancer, and he was the uncle that I was most closest to. And I had actually started my journey a little bit before he was diagnosed, and kind of in between the time, like I was good to go maybe up until he started to get worse off. Like I was able to stay faithful, but it was kind of like after his funeral, it all went downhill for a while. Like kind of go through a nothing even matters kind of a phase. And then after that, I just kind of gave up for a while. And then I don't know, I had a resurgence and said, okay, I want to get back to doing it, and doing it for me meant that I would go for a 2.5 mile walk slash run 3 days a week faithfully. And once that kind of came to pass, I wasn't as consistent as I had been. And so there was weight loss there, but in between there was probably some weight gain. And so now, like, I have my mindset on wanting to be not necessarily a particular size, but I want my body to look a particular way. I don't necessarily want to be a size 2. I don't think that would look right on my body frame anyway. I'm about 5'8.5", so I mean I could, but I might look like I'm about to pass out everywhere I'm gonna go. But I'm just putting this kind of out here just to get words of encouragement, maybe some advice. I'll definitely tell you that I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a bad eater, and then I have to backtrack because I probably am. I'll tell you my worst bad habits. I do eat sweets. I do have fast food. I don't have it all the time. So like breaking away from certain things like the carbs and all that, like it's a 50-50 shot with me because I don't necessarily, it depends. It really does depend. Generally speaking, I tend to eat once to twice a day. And I know it's a really bad habit, and I'm trying to get better with that. It's not so much I think that I'm just eating horrible foods. I think it's I'm not eating at all. And people talk about starvation mode or whatever, and it's really funny because I'm not a huge girl, but when it's you feel like, oh God, I'm big for me. And I'm like, well, if I'm starving, well, my body's not eating the fat fast enough for me. And that's kind of my whole mindset. Like, okay, if this is what's going on, I don't see it. I can be kind of bad with the water intake. I've tried to get better with that as well. I've kind of gone on these kicks. And for those that have battled this, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say I can be good for a little while, but then it catches up. It catches up, and out of nowhere, it's like I become the cookie monster, and I'm, like a binge eater sometimes. Like I can eat healthy, but then that little voice, you're like, have me, I'll have whatever. And then you eat it, and then you feel kind of bad. and then you say screw it, and then it's just downhill from there. But basically, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I feel like, well, first off, let me tell you, I've been a little bit more limited in what I do for two reasons. One, I don't get up at the crack of dawn. And so, I mean, maybe we can readjust that schedule to go work out. And so I have a tendency, like right now, we're at averaging 101 plus, for the past few weeks. So the way that I've had to adjust is, I've never been a huge runner, but there's a stretch like that I run, and the whole going one lap is like 2.5 miles. I can run some of it. I won't even lie and claim to run half of it, but I can run some of it. And in 100-degree heat, it's probably not the wisest thing you can do. Just saying. Although I think I could probably hang, but when you got the sun on you and the heat index is like 110, 115, it's just not worth it. So I've tried to incorporate going inside and doing, the elliptical machine or the treadmill and, a little bit of weights. And I've been contemplating, trying to do HIIT, which is, for those who don't know, high intensity training. Because I'm not going to lie, I want to see results. And when you're not seeing them fast enough in your mind, it gets super frustrating. Me and the scale, if the scale was a person, they would be dead. Like, I'd be strangling them because it seems like my weight totally fluctuates back and forth. Let me not lie. Not back and forth, but within enough of a range for you to want to tear your hair out. If you're seeing, just throwing this out for an example, this is not my weight, but if I was throwing out, like, if I was weighing 180, and let's say maybe that's the max I had seen, but I've been getting somewhere between 177 to, like 179, and but it fluctuates in a range for me. It's like it's in a range. And it's so frustrating because for me, I feel like, okay, I'm working out. I'm consistent, for the most part. I'm lying this week because I slipped up one day and just didn't do it, because there are days when you're just like, I feel like I'm doing everything I can and nothing's coming off the scale. Granted, today there was some movement. I mean, let me put it like this. There's never not any movement. I'm not always happy in the direction that it's going in. And that's a really big thing. Not always happy with the direction that it's moving. So I'm frustrated. I'm also wanting to look into fat burners, and I'll get into that in another video. But I just wanted to say I'm frustrated. I want to tear my hair out, and I just want to know if any of you other guys are frustrated, and if so, tell me about it, and maybe we can help each other on this journey.